information in case there were any technical difficulties, which we have had the last few meetings. Today's agenda, the first thing that we were going to do was approve the minutes. So we'll wait on that until we are able to have a quorum. And we'll skip to number 2, which is an update on ongoing tasks. So it has been a very busy almost 2 months since we last met at the beginning of September. This week, today actually, we launched our saliva-based COVID-19 testing, and we'll be doing that 5 to 7 days a week at various locations throughout the city. We are continuing to look at ways to work with vulnerable populations and find new ways to reach out to that group. We have a separate section here later on that will talk specifically about some of that. General conversation right now is still heavily focused on COVID, but we are also preparing for the election next Tuesday and providing general information on where people can find their polling places, and working with the election board to provide some insight on some of the common questions that we're seeing from citizens right now. The other pieces, we're transitioning to some of our more winter weather communications throughout the city. So we actually were doing a test run of the COVID testing last week, and we were like, oh, you know, people are going to start wearing winter gloves. We need to remind people to wash their gloves more frequently. If it's cold outside, your masks get saturated more quickly. But then it's also fire season. So when people start using those fireplaces and increasing their HVAC use, we have more house fires this time of year, so we're doing some general reminders of that. And then Monday, we had our first snow event of the season, so we're brushing off those protocols and how we share that information. We are in the process of creating at the recommendation of this committee, gratitude pumpkin. Because of the current situation and the need to keep people from touching those common surfaces, we are going to be doing a word cloud version of the gratitude pumpkin. So we hope to, in the next week or so, launch a website where people can insert a word or phrase that they are grateful for, and then we will create a word cloud in the shape of a pumpkin that we can put on the website and social media. We did do some asks for Santa Calagon stories and teacher stories. We have not seen a great deal of response back for those. If you guys have ideas on that, we are very open to hear them. Right now, it didn't seem to resonate the way we thought it might. We are also looking at a couple of projects that I have later on here, getting closer to the holidays, and just the need to talk about how we've come together in 2020 and the positive things of 2020. So that's the community spirit video that we'll spend a little more time talking on here later in the agenda. The CGI videos are up and on the website. You can find them next to the Twitter and calendar of events on the city's main page. They are not perfect. I think that's one of those projects that we could tweak and tweak and tweak and never be fully satisfied with it. So we are excited that there are ways that people can explore the city in a new venue, and hopefully that gives people a better insight into the community than they had previously had. So that was a sort of quick overview of where we are right now. Zach, you have anything else you would add from the communications front that I missed?
I do not.
Okay. So.
Hey, Meg.
Yes.
Why don't you take down the your screen so we can see each other?
Okay.
Thanks. There, that's better.
Okay, so we are now into the next piece of the agenda, and that's reaching vulnerable populations. So in September, we started conducting what we call town halls, but they are where we reach out to groups to discuss particular ways that they can help communicate the ongoing situation that we are in right now. To date, we have done a members of the faith community, a vulnerable populations, particularly with some members of the Hispanic population in the area, and a service organization town hall. We are working right now towards a couple more of those and some repeats as we get into the new season with some new needs. As those are completed and announced, we'll let the appropriate groups know of the invitations to that. But what we have gotten some really good feedback is the need for greater outreach to our vulnerable populations. And those vulnerable populations are minority groups, individuals with pre-existing conditions, and the homeless. So, or like homeless adjacent, where they're not quite homeless, but they are on the cusp. So we are working with members of the ESF6, which is our Essential Services Function 6, that oversees sort of the public service or the service coordination through our Eastern Jackson County, and trying to find ways to provide information that has been translated to particularly Spanish, but also reaching out to some of those community leaders that are able to help us share the messages of the current time. This is a great opportunity, not only from the COVID perspective, but also from the brand perspective, because it allows us to connect to a group and tell the stories of that group in a way that resonates with those different populations. So I wanted to bring that to the awareness of this group and see if you guys had any ideas or things that you have seen with the various groups that you work with that have been successful in reaching out to minority populations or diverse groups throughout the region. So this is one of those things that if you guys want to think on it, and if you find an idea or you're reading an article and you see a community doing something that you find particularly innovative, we are always looking for ideas. So Mayor Weir did an interview on a podcast that is going out to Spanish-speaking listeners in the KC metro area. We are working on translations of some of our—
They translated it for me, but for the record. Test out my Spanish on them.
I was going to ask if you are fluent.
No, I'm barely fluent in English, so no.
So we are also, if you look at some of our pages, we are working on providing Spanish translations for some of our like key tips. So the Halloween tips were translated into Spanish. The sort of gathering suggestions have been translated into Spanish, and we're making a very concerted effort that the signs and posters in the various buildings are translated into Spanish and posted throughout the building. This is the main language need right now. There are other languages that are spoken obviously throughout the metro region, and we are evaluating not only a way to get the information to those groups, but the best way to check translations for those other languages. So this is sort of an ongoing effort here. But again, if you guys see anything that you think would be a good fit for us, let us know.
I really like the idea that you are getting those translations done, especially in Spanish. I think that would probably be our #2 language right here in our metro area. So yeah, I think it's important that we're inclusive. So very good. Very good.
And I was also going to ask, and I've heard a lot about this, and we don't have it on our website with the chamber, but for people with disabilities, hearing impaired, that sort of thing, do you guys offer anything like that? I'm sure you probably do. I just don't know about it.
So we work to make our web pages what is it's called screen reader friendly as much as possible so that they can access that. And that's providing like alt text for the images that are on the pages whenever possible. That is sort of an ongoing task as we have thousands of web pages on our website. So as we add those new images, we're working to make sure that we explain what those are. But also on our social media posts, where we can, we're adding those captions as quickly as possible, as well as our YouTube page so that people can utilize those services. It is an ongoing to do there. And an ever-changing need. But we have been reminded a few times by citizens that said, hey, I can't read what's in the picture because a graphic had text in it, but we didn't clarify what that text was in the post associated with it on a social media page. So there's been a lot of really good lessons learned that we've taken from that. And so we are doing all we can to make sure that if we have text on a graphic, it is repeated in the post that goes with it. Obviously, platforms like Twitter are not necessarily friendly to that effort, but Nextdoor, Facebook, and Instagram do allow us a little bit more space to provide that information. Michelle, you're muted.
Which is always a good thing. Meg, is there a platform that allows just that you have for hearing impaired that they can choose to have the written information on the dialogues or on the screen? Is there a setting for that?
There is not a universal setting. So Facebook, you have to go in and add the closed captions to it. It can auto-generate those, but I'm sure any of us that have played with social media, Facebook's auto-generated ones are a little bit wonky. The grammar and capitalization and all of that is to be desired, but it is available to us. YouTube does that as well, and we have worked to make sure that those are part of automatically some of our public meetings there. It's not 100% and it's not perfect as it's something that very much depends on individuals going in and clicking as you're uploading the video. So
Okay.
we are working to do that consistently every time, but we have a 3-person team that's doing multiple hats, and when you're uploading a video from the field, it's a little bit more challenging to make sure that all those pieces come in there.
Absolutely. Thank you for answering that.
So again, if you guys see something that's really innovative or you think it would be something that we can do here, please let us know. Along those lines, we did do a reminder last week for the My Independence stories and have brushed off that space. So if you guys are on different Facebook groups or alumni groups of different schools from here in the area and want to share that reminder that that exists, we would very much invite any of those My Independence stories. And that platform is at the bottom of our brand page. They go in and they can submit a written story and up to 3 pictures along with that, and we can utilize that for a potential video opportunity later on. But we've also had a lot of success just using those as sort of like a blog post on our social media platforms where people like to read about people and how they have grown up here, or lived here, or moved here, all of those different pieces of the stories that make our community what it is. Okay, so holiday communications. We briefly mentioned the word cloud, and I am going to go see if I can try to get one of our members in. Zach, can you talk a little bit about the what we did last year with the wreath? And then Mayor, can you talk a little bit about your prayer breakfast and how we're sort of looking at that this year too?
Do you want to go first, Mayor, or do you want me to go first?
Well, so I typically have the mayor's prayer breakfast in November, the week before Thanksgiving. I mean, that's kind of been my tradition. And you know, obviously this year we can't have a gathering like that. I mean, we certainly could. We've always had great, you know, great speakers. And, you know, it would be something that we could do. I guess what I would be interested in hearing from all of you is, I mean, now that we've all sort of participated in various online events, and I was a late comer to that whole concept. I'm like, I don't want to go to an online party, but you know, but I've gone to a few and they've been pretty, and I've been actually enjoyed them and thought they were pretty impressive and fun. So it's a, you know, it's just a longstanding tradition in Independence that we have is that the mayor has prayer breakfast every year. So do you think it's something that people are, you know, is it an important event in the community? Would people be disappointed if we didn't have it? I mean, I don't think we would say we're canceling it. It just wouldn't happen. You know, I mean, we just wouldn't put it together. It would be simple enough to do. I mean, you know, I can get a speaker, we can talk a little bit. I mean, I will be doing my state of the city. I normally do that in February. So the prayer breakfast isn't really like a update on what's going on around town. But, you know, we usually have music, you know, we have some kind of music and a little bit of a program. And I mean, I do think that normally people leave there and they feel really good and they're like, this is a nice way to start the day and kind of a nice way to kick off the holiday season before Thanksgiving. So what do you think? I mean, is it something that is a big enough of a tradition that we should definitely have it? Do you think nobody would miss it? Or what do you think people would attend? Or, you know, we could just record it and then people can watch it whenever they want. I mean, obviously, that's an option as well. But, you know, I have some ideas and you might have some ideas too of somebody that we could ask to be the speaker and kind of, you know, give some inspirational message to our community. And we've had, last year we had Casey Wolf, was that last year? And he was great. We've had, you know, local people and they're all great. I mean, they all do a wonderful job. I mean, if we could get somebody who was maybe a little bit more of a high profile person in the region, maybe that would, you know, would draw more attention. So what do you think? I mean, I think people are looking for something to make them feel good. You know, and this
I agree.
Usually, you know, this usually fits the bill for that. So,
You know, Eileen, I think too that hanging on to some of those traditions now, especially since this COVID has gone on for so long, that it's important that we do it. And I know that that's something that's always come from your office and it's just a tradition that's been there.
yeah.
I think the feel good is meaningful. I love the idea that it's pre-recorded and available for people to watch it. So it wouldn't have to be a full blown event that you're trying to plan. But I just think it's a nice message moving forward into the holidays that sets a nice tone and kind of lets people know things are okay here in Independence, Missouri.
So do you guys have any, I mean, you don't have to tell me right now, but unless you have somebody that just popped to mind that you think would be great to do it. But if you do have people, you know, some of our best, they're all good. I mean, I don't want to say best, but they've been people in our community who just, were really powerful. It doesn't have to be any kind of a celebrity or a well-known person. If you just, right. If you know of and here's the other thing. Intentionally, our theme is always gratitude. Every single year that we've had it, the theme has been gratitude. And then we kind of do a certain aspect of gratitude, like community, I guess we could do health, safety, something.
What about, since we're on the whole thing with telling your story,
yeah.
Is there someone that we can think of that has a fantastic story that, would be very moving and show gratitude? Somebody like that.
Yeah, but the other point I was going to make before I lose my train of thought is it does have us in a sense, definitely a spirituality to it, a sense of spirituality, but it certainly is not in any way, tied to a church or a religion or anything like that. I mean, so if you're thinking of people, one year we had, our theme was diversity, and we did a wonderful video of all these different faith communities in Independence. I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, all the ones that we were able to find. And Zach, we usually do a little, video, which we could, pull that together, which is kind of nice to show off things in our community. So, they've had various levels of sort of connection to, a particular faith tradition, but, it certainly doesn't have to be faith-based at all. I mean, but it just has to have, sort of a sense of inspiration, spirituality,
I wonder if there's a local doctor that has kind of seen the whole COVID thing firsthand that could kind of take us down to the pits of the whole pandemic situation locally, but then lift us back up with a message of hope.
As we've been saying, having this discussion over the last 20 minutes or so, don't you want to talk about something besides COVID? I mean, I do. I mean, and this, I just kind of reset my mind as we got a few minutes into this meeting, saying we're not the COVID communications team. We're not the emergency operations team. Our mission as the brand steering committee is to tell the stories of Independence and to promote what is good and unique about our community. So, I don't really want to hear from somebody who, I mean, there'd be great stories like who had like a near-death experience and, came back from, I mean, maybe something like historical would be kind of fun. Just talking about, how Independence has evolved as community. I mean, I know we sort of get stuck in looking backwards, but that we have triumphed through a lot of, through war and, you know, and disease and, you know, on and on and on, and come, you know, and triumphed through that. So, you know, there may be something along those lines, or, you know, like, you know, we've had speakers, they just really, they don't talk about anything. I mean, it's not an event, it's just a mess, you know, a inspiring message. So
A good storyteller with the feel-good message
yeah,
going into the holidays would be awesome. And then, you know, sandwich that with some great community, maybe of some kids singing, some video of a couple school districts with the kiddos singing on the front and the back end of it. And I think that would be great. And if the messaging had a historic value of back in a specific year, I remember, and maybe it kind of ties into a time of hardship, but then again, how we move forward. And in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, who is that storyteller? But I know we have a great storyteller that can take us through that, and we can visualize it and feel it with them.
What about Pettigrew?
oh, Alversia,
Yeah.
yeah, she would be good.
Yep.
I also, this guy's a little bit off the
So
wall, but
Alversia would be, I mean, I've never, you know, seen her like give a you know, like kind of address a room of people, but we could do it of more of kind of an interview style, and, you know, we could get, and that might be a really neat little, you know, since we're pre-recording it and it doesn't have to just be a live presentation, we could, you know, select a few different people in the community and just do more of kind of an interview style messaging with some, you know, words of kind of encouragement for the future.
You know,
or we could do something totally different. I mean, we could do, I mean, Michelle, we could do something about, you know, when they used to do the Christmas lights in Fairmount, and, you know,
absolutely.
like, I mean, just, you know, kind of, you know, since we're not doing anything this season at the Vale and the jail and the Bingham like we normally do for the holidays, you know, just kind of, you know, remembrances of, you know, holiday traditions. I mean, we could do something along those lines. You know, people have funny stories about, you know, taking their dates. They're like, oh, I'm going to go show you the Christmas lights. And they thought they were going to the plaza and they ended up in Fairmount.
Right. Well, I can kind of see that being done at the coffee shop, and you're interviewing people, and it's just like over coffee. And then again, we put some Christmas lights and maybe some church choirs, you know, just whatever's happening, just getting little blips or glimpse in there with it. I think people would really like that. And especially again, if it could be put on our on the website and they could access it anytime.
So have you met Brent's new and Lee's new neighbor? The, I think he's oh gosh, I'm going to get this wrong. He's a musician and he lives a few doors down from Brent and Lee, and of course they've, you know, gotten to be friends with him. But, you know, we could maybe have him do a musical piece, or Dana Mengel. I mean, we could have Dana Mengel do, you know, his, he plays, you know, he's a violinist.
Right.
I know, just do a really nice kind of add some musical background to it. I mean,
so Mayor, this
we don't
kind
have
of overlaps
yeah.
with the community spirit portion of what I was thinking about, and you guys are kind of going along with the theme there. Was I wanted to do a video that we could use on social media, City 7, and the website that showed the community spirit and ways that we have come together this year, but have come together in years before as well, to just talk about how we as independents celebrate the small things, the big things, and everything in between. And to me, community spirit is sort of what I was thinking would be the theme there. So it could be one word, it could be a story, it could be the Fairmount remembrances, it could be, you know, the Christmas tree lightings that people went to in years past. It could be, you know, growing up in a neighborhood, but those pieces that make the community spirit the way we are, because we need that reminder right now that there is this positive out there. I mean, the McCoy neighborhood has gone above and beyond to find ways to come together right now throughout all of the situation that we are right now. We've seen the walks, we've seen teddy bear picnics, we've seen monster hunts, all of these things that we have come together as a community quietly, that don't get all the, you know, fanfare and loud noises that we usually see, but that makes a community what it is.
Meg, what if you did that on a monthly basis? So Christmas obviously is a good feel-good time, and then we can share out. I think about what happens in the acres and how it's fun to get a picture, you know, of all of the luminaries, and the traditions of what happens for Halloween. But maybe it would be really fun to not just do that once, but to do it for an entire year. Show independence, show us your spirit. And so that, you know, that might be good.
Kick it off with the prayer breakfast. Maybe, you know, kind of announce it with that, and as an ongoing thing. But, you know, you just start thinking, I mean, I'm thinking about, I have to do it. I mean, I do a holiday card, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do a holiday card with masks and Zoom meeting. I mean, you know, it's like, let's talk about something else. You know? We're still a community, and we need to, you know, recognize
I think, and I agree with that, because at this point, I think we know what we're dealing with, and we're having to live that every day, but we also want to look forward and move forward. And so we're looking for ways to move beyond that. And so it's in our face anyway. So let's see what we can do to kind of march on. Or
maybe we just take it as like, we're, you know, this is an opportunity for new traditions, you know, and what are those new traditions going to be? So I don't know. All right, well, we'll work on it. I'll get Zach to help me come up with a video idea, and you know, I'll think. I mean, we're gotta kind of hurry up. We only have really, I mean, we can do it. We don't have to do it. It's just nice to do it right before Thanksgiving. It kind of sets a nice tone. But yeah, those are good ideas.
Well, and it's one of those things, if you guys know of a particular story, like the Community Acres story, if there's a particular event, you guys know those better than we do, living in the different neighborhoods than we might see from the areas that we live in or City Hall. So if there is something that you know of or have known of in the past that we can tell that story, email us so that we can get a list and start reaching out to those people that we need to gather the stories. So I'm thinking also like the Lights on Chrysler, where we have that individual that has decorated for Halloween and Christmas, and the Chiefs. That's another community spirit story. We've got a lot of groups that are connecting with different needs for shoes or backpacks or whatever for the different youth and homeless populations in the area. That's a community spirit story. But if you have contacts with any of those individuals, or you come across somebody at your worship service or work that you know of would be really good from this, let us know, and we can start sort of gathering our sort of lead pool to get those interviews done.
Hey, Angie, let me ask you a question. What's League doing for the Christmas tea, or are you not having it?
Oh, We are, and it's going to be really cool. I'm on the program. So, I think it's, I know, sorry. I think we're going to do a Candyland theme. We're going to switch it up this year from being very, formal, and it's going to kind of walk through Candyland. So you're socially spaced out, and it should be cool.
Hi, Jack.
Yeah. Can you say hi, Mayor?
Hi.
Yeah, you can go get a piece of trick or treat candy. This fool's ready for Halloween. Our neighborhood is doing a really cool thing during the day for Halloween. We're doing puzzle pieces on everybody's porch, and then all the kids will gather their puzzle piece and make like a big Halloween puzzle, and then they'll come and okay, go with Daddy. And then they'll come together, and we, like 50 of us, have made like a big huge treat bag that we'll then give the kids after they make their puzzle. So that way they can go at any time during the day, and it's not seeing people and whatnot, so
Sure.
But anyway, when you were talking about the shoe thing, do you know Linda Pringle, Meg?
Yeah, yep.
Linda has been big at church. I need you to go with Daddy. Go put on clothes. You're still in your pajamas. This is wild. Linda Pringle, and oh gosh, I can't think of her name right now. Brenda Flowers, have been really excited about collecting shoes for the kids in the independent school district. So when you said that, I didn't want to forget, so write that down. But yeah, Junior Service League is going to do a whole different kind of thing for our tea. So
okay.
I can get you more info on it when we meet again, but
oh no, it's okay. I just was curious while I was thinking about
but yeah, I think all those little stories and snippets. The only reason I was thinking of I can never say her name right. Is it Alicia? Alversia.
Alversia. Mm-hmm.
The reason I was thinking about her was, like, just a historic aspect, but then like a positive inspiration, and then also, like you said, having some diversity with just things that are going on now. I just feel like she's such a good.
She's a great. She's got a great story. She's got great stories.
I did that.
I don't know if I would ask her to like give a 5-minute, 10-minute presentation. I think kind of a more interview style would.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say I somehow got asked to be at Bryant one year for this like McCoy Park famous people, and like we had to dress up like these people and stuff. And so she came, and I think she was essentially herself. And I did get to see her like perform in front of the kids, and so that was just kind of something that made me think about that. But don't mind me and my allergies voice. I got a COVID test. I do not have it. It's cold, allergies, and weather change, so I sound like a man. Sorry about it.
So I think that this is a great way to, I agree, Mayor, it's a really good way to sort of kick this off at the prayer breakfast. It goes right in line with a lot of your themes year after year. And then if we can find sort of that anchor speaker for sort of or speakers, I like the interview style, particularly now because of the way that you're looking at doing it. So we can set up a meeting to sort of talk about specifics for that one. But you guys have already given me a list of at least 5, I can think of right now, of community spirit videos that we can start with. So we can start working on those and getting some of that going. But any other ideas there?
No, I think that was what was Zach going to talk about?
So last year, Zach led up our.
Let's see what happens.
The holiday wreath that we did.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That we got a lot of
that was cool.
Photos submitted for that.
So I think we have the platform that we can sort of brush off there. If you guys are interested in doing something like that again, we're just going to have to look at probably a digital way to do it this year, as opposed to the actual physical wreath that we made. We can still put them on the wreath if we wanted to, but we can't display it anywhere. Zach, do you want to talk about the process that we developed for that last year?
Sure. So
Let
we
me
turned.
back up for a second, Zach. Sorry. Why don't, I mean, we could do the physical wreath and display it like somewhere. I mean, people don't get their photos back, so I mean, if there was a place to display it outdoors, that we could, illuminate it, it would be kind of neat. Even in the Hiram Young Park, where we have the tree lit and the other things. Are we going to do our Santa mailbox where kids can drop off their letters to Santa that we had at the market and the park? I don't know. We could put it outside someplace.
Okay. We'll have to look at a good spot. Zach can, because last year we worked with a partner to get those printed.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it if you wanted it to be outdoors. You could laminate the photos. The photos last year weren't laminated, and then we hung the actual wreath up. We had it up for the Christmas tree lighting, and then after that we moved it to City Hall, and it just was displayed inside City Hall for a month. So,
or if we had a storefront that was available, and we could just put on, kind of do a collage, so it'd be inside, but people could walk by and find their picture.
Yeah.
I was also thinking we've got the Gingerbread Trail that we're doing at George Owens Nature Park. So maybe we could do it at the clubhouse area sort of there at George Owens, and then encourage people to go participate and see their gingerbread people out there as well.
And you could probably move it around. You could have like a storefront on the square where it is displayed most of the time, and then whenever there's a particular event out someplace, you could move it out to that event for the duration of that event and then move it back. Or you could have it out on the east side of town for maybe there's a storefront in the mall or a window in the mall where you can go and view it for a week or 3 days, and then we move it back. But yeah, the wreath itself was, I had some guys in the parks, the BRT department, fabricate a metal hoop basically, and then they welded key rings to it and made up like a little candle display to sit in the middle. Anyway, so meanwhile online, the tech department set up a place for people to submit photos of their friends, their families, their loved ones, themselves, whoever. And we just promoted that on Facebook pretty heavily for like 2 or 3 weeks, asking people to submit photos to us. And I think we got, I don't remember exactly, it was like around 100 photos that we got from people, and printed those off here locally and basically stuck all the photos and the key rings around the wreath. So you had this holiday wreath of photos was the name that Sunshine and Tech actually dubbed, so which has been good. So like Meg said, I think like the wreath is over at the Trails Museum, just kind of hanging out, waiting for another holiday season. I don't know if Sunshine still has access to like the submit system. Like she created that last year. I don't know if she can go back and just like reactivate it or not.
I'm pretty sure we can, Zach.
Okay. And we've got graphics and things from last year. So really, I mean, what it came down to as much as anything else was just kind of like relentlessly posting about it and constantly telling people like, hey, submit your pictures. It was really easy. You could do it right from your phone. So that helped.
So that means in November, we can do the gratitude pumpkin and have that up the week of Thanksgiving, hopefully. And then right after that, we can transition to collecting images for the community wreath and then look at some spots to display that for the last couple weeks of December and maybe the first couple weeks of January as well. Is everybody okay with that idea? Okay, so Christy wanted to share some of the cool things that tourism is doing to sort of promote independence and who we are. So Christy, you've got the last few minutes here.
Sure, I'm going to let Zach share some of the videos and some of the mid-rolls that we had from a couple of our podcasts. I can tell you that the Paranormal Path that we launched on our website and then on our YouTube channel since the beginning of October. So the first week or so of October, it has had over 133,000 views.
Wow.
So it's doing better than they had ever expected. So I'll let Zach kind of show you that video and then some of the other general videos that we did with the CARES Act money that we got from the state. Zach.
So you want to start with the haunted stuff?
Let's start with the CARES Act stuff and we can finish with the paranormal stuff.
Okay. Get it. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Hold on. Put this over here.
While you're looking for that, I'll tell you my sister-in-law, who's Snotty from Overland Park, told me that she heard Rob Lowe talking about independence on her podcast, and she was very impressed.
That is right. We got Rob Lowe, and then in bed with Nick and Megan also did some spots for us.
We've got those two. I think. Okay, so Meg, I'm going to try to share something in here. Is that good? Okay.
You're good.
Oh, and I forgot to hit the button here. Hold on. Are you getting out of here, Gary? Okay. See you later. Okay, try again. That play okay?
We can hear it. I can't see it.
I saw it.
I saw it.
Very interesting. Okay.
I could see it.
Sorry. I wonder, Meg, you're not still presenting something, are you?
No.
Eric had that issue yesterday for the Tourism Commission meeting, but everybody else could see it but him. So maybe I think it's probably
all
okay.
good. It's all good. As long as everybody else can see it, we're good.
So, Christy, you just want me to run through the rest of those?
Sure.
Okay. One second. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Zach, we don't have to do the outdoor one. Just go ahead and play the mid rolls for the podcast. So what we did is we gave several different people with podcasts the same information, and then they each kind of put their own spin on it. So we'll share those, a couple of those with y'all, but they turned out really well.
So when I was a kid, I used to take these long distance trips cross country in the car with my parents, and I loved it. And I would posit that it may be time to start exploring in that way again. So perhaps, just perhaps, you might think about taking a new adventure to, of all places, Independence, Missouri. Here's why I think you should do it. They have their safety precautions in place. It's right in the middle of the heartland, where that heartland heritage is beating strong, right near Kansas City. Has all of the attractions of a big city, but with a small town feel. And it is the sort of centerpiece of the legacy of President Harry Truman, an unbelievable American, really interesting man. It was his home, Independence. And it is one of only 14 presidential libraries in the country, the Truman Library. And it is reopening this fall after a $30 million renovation. You can walk in the footsteps of pioneers along the winding trails. You can indulge in the great barbecues and the local brews and the historic Independence Square. And by the way, this is my favorite part. There's some serious haunted ghost tours there. So if you're down to clown with ghost tours like me, the ghost home tour is fun. So I love finding cool, interesting, off the beaten path places. So Independence, Missouri, I would check it out. Be sure to bring along your favorite face covering, as the county has a mask ordinance to keep everybody safe. And you can find and plan your visit at visitindependence.com and start writing your own great American story.
I can honestly say when I started seeing these, it tickled me that I never thought that I would hear Rob Lowe or other people talking about Independence, Missouri, but it made me laugh. So
Show another one.
well, Zach, we're getting right up on our time here. So if there's one more, maybe a paranormal one.
Yeah, I would do that one because, like I said, it's gotten over 133,000 views just since the beginning of October. So it's been really successful.
What draws your eyes to the open door across the room?
Why can't you look away from the darkness beyond the door frame?
What's there in the shadows that has so captivated your worry?
Can you feel it coming closer?
The dread tugging at your thoughts. That's the past. The wounded past.
Pulling the veil between you thinner and thinner until it's thin enough for you to see just how close they truly are.
Come sit with Sophia Vale and admire her elegant mansion. Ignore the shifting shadows. Those are merely stains left over from the mental patients once locked in the basement. Come, walk through the 1859 jailhouse. These little cells aren't as empty as they appear.
Come wander the grounds of the Bingham Wagoner estate, but watch your step on the stair. They've proven to be treacherous.
Come visit Independence.
We're waiting.
For you.
There you are.
The voices on that one always give me the chills every time I hear it.
Yeah. Creepy.
So thank you, Christy. Anything else you want to update real quick? We're running down the clock here.
We are running out the Show Me Strong DMO recovery program. We are finalizing getting all the advertising and everything out. You should be seeing it on YouTube, TV, Hulu, hearing it on Pandora. There's just all kinds of opportunities, like you said, to hear, who expected Rob Lowe to be talking about independence, or Megan and Nick to be talking about independence, but it's awesome. We're really excited that we had the opportunity to do this, and hopefully through the noise of the elections, people are hearing our story and are planning their vacations. I can't tell you that we normally send out about 30 visitor guides a month. I think we're closing in on 200 this month. So people are hearing our message, getting our visitor guides, and planning their trips. So hopefully come spring, we are going to see a bunch of people coming to Independence. So.
Wow, that's great.
And I love that he worked in the brand at the end. Your Great American Story starts here on that podcast. So that's
they all
super.
did. We request that was part of the information that they were given, and every single one of them ends with that.
Does Rob Lowe want to speak at my prayer breakfast?
I don't know. I would absolutely love for him to do that.
Would you mind asking him next time we talk to him?
See what we can do.
All right.
So closing, just some gentle homework, if you guys can help us with it. If you can think of potential speakers for the prayer breakfast or interviewees, let us know. If you have the Show Your Spirit sort of stories that you come across in your daily walks about the community, or if you notice something super cool in your own neighborhoods, let us know. And we will probably, because as we had discussed earlier this spring, want to meet towards the end of the month with the Thanksgiving holiday. I know that last week of November is generally pretty challenging, and the last week of December is very challenging as well. So we may have our next meeting the beginning of December, so that we're kind of in between the two. Then we can look at the first, hopefully, spirit effort from November, and then work on our December projects into the new year. So if you guys have any ideas in between there, please feel free to share them with us. And hopefully next time we will have a quorum to approve the minutes from not only the meeting before, but this meeting as well. And have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Stay safe and keep helping tell the stories.
Okay. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, everybody.